Greetings. Welcome, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, and joining me this week to do more talking about Heroes of the Storm than BlizzCon is Kyle Fergusson.
Oh, it's true.
It is true. We've got the schedule, Kyle.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot of nothing if you're a Heroes fan.
People said they'd be okay with 15 minutes on the BlizzCon stage, so maybe an hour and a half podcast makes up for it.
Maybe it does. And if you out there know someone who's a little bummed that they want some talking about their Heroes of the Storm, tell them about this show. F it. I got nothing better to do with the lack of content they're giving us, so I'm just going to use this as an attempt to pimp our show. There we go.
I like it. That's a business decision right
there.
Yeah,
man. If you're not going to give us content to make, we're going to make something with what you give us.
You know, honestly, I thought the biggest drama of today was going to be that we got kicked out of the Cupid Coliseum, but
Cupid
that is
Coliseum?
not the case.
What's the Cupid Coliseum?
That tournament thing I was doing last weekend.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I don't, dude. You're in too many. You're in more tournaments than I make podcasts. I can't keep up.
Right? That's kind of weird to mention. You know, it's almost as though I'm participating in this healthy, thriving video game at the moment with multiple tournaments going on, upcoming esports events, and devs that care greatly about the product. But yeah, who am I to judge?
Yeah, dude. It's gonna be meaty. So before we get right into it, housekeeping, patron hangout next week.
Yes.
We're gonna ring in the pre-BlizzCon with the game we would like represented at BlizzCon and hanging out with our favorite patrons. Hanging out here, which isn't to say that if you don't make our patron hangout that you're not our favorite patrons. You know, we understand scheduling is a thing. So let me just walk that turn of phrase back. If you want to sign up for that, or if you want to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/ITN and to our most recent patron, Parker A. Rooney. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support that you're giving us. And how many jokes can I make, man? Because it's more support than we're getting from Blizz. Oh,
just move on to news at this point. We can't dance around this bush any longer. This bush is weary from the anatomy.
Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
Yeah, so we got the BlizzConline schedule. Schedule is out, and apparently so is Heroes from BlizzCon. Not there, even though we're in the key art. And so if you missed it, if you missed the way that this kind of unfurled for the Heroes of the Storm audience, a tweet went out from the official Heroes account that said only 9 days left until BlizzConline, and the schedule has arrived from the Nexus. Don't miss your favorite heroes with panels streaming across 6 stages. See you there, with a link to the schedule. And then, Kyle, did you do what I did and immediately just scramble over to the schedule and start just combing through it violently, being like, wait, what?
Yeah, feverishly, particularly on that second day tab, as I went, okay, day one, I get you. You might have some new products, mobile game, something or other going on. Oh, you got Overwatch 2 floating in the ether. You got Diablo 4 you got to talk about. I get it. But surely day 2 has something for Here's the Storm with this tweet embedded there with it. Oh my God, what a bait and switch. What a poor, sad thing to happen to whoever had to click OK on that tweet. Hopefully it was scheduled so they didn't have to think about hitting the button. What? Oh man. It's a windy sales killer.
It's tone deaf, man. It's like at the end of the day, like it is like I've seen every take on Earth, and like I'm kind of in agreement with all of them. Like I was very ready for there not to be Heroes of the Storm stuff at BlizzCon, but then when I saw that tweet, I was like, oh cool, they must be doing something. And so then I, within minutes, went through this emotional journey of hope, and then having that hope taken away. And I'm just like, man, we just got out of a holiday with no in-game event. And AZ Jackson just left. You can't do this. What the shit was anyone thinking?
It's worse than that ultimately, because it comes down to the community, things like the show, things like YouTubers, streamers, things like Heroes Hearth CCL, propping up this game, bringing it back from that break point of HGC cancellation. And to just go without any sort of what's ahead and what's forward, it hurts. It hurts the fans. It hurts all around. And there's insult to injury in this thing. That's rough to think about. We got Blizzard, the general Blizzard stage. Cool. You know, that's a nice way to hide whatever you're thinking of announcing, new things, right? We don't want to give it away in the schedule. World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Diablo, Overwatch, and Strategy, which is covering StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, and Warcraft 3. Now, we do have a Carbot animation panel that goes for several hours, which Carbot has done plenty of Heroes stuff in the past. Great community member, great advertisement system for the game, lots of assets of his in the game in forms of portraits and sprays. But that's labeled as a Heroes event. I guess the consolation prize is poor Warcraft 3. They didn't get anything.
They didn't even get a good game to begin with. So, I mean, we'll give them that. But like, yeah, man, it's just like I said, like to me, like the only reason I was really like I was somewhat hopeful because like AZ Jackson's farewell letter was really optimistic, right? But at the same time, you know, I'd like to think of myself as a realist. I mean, what have we been saying on the show for years now? Which is like, Heroes of the Storm marches to the beat of its own drum at this point. It releases things when they're ready, and it's not particularly interested in arbitrary dates for conferences, conventions, or whatever big, you know, present of announcements Blizzard is tying up under a bow. You know, Hogger was supposed to be a BlizzCon hero, and they gave us Hogger when Hogger was ready. They didn't hold them back arbitrarily to have something to bring to the changed BlizzCon date because of COVID. So like all of that is like in my mind. And it kind of led to me going into this, like there was a part of me that's like, yeah, I'm kind of bracing for there not to be anything. Cause you know, what would it be unless they had a big surprise for us? So clearly they don't. And so I don't think I would have like been I got real riled up, man. You and I were on a call together when this news dropped, which is rare. We just happened we were checking in, having a meeting, kind of talking about things and what our plans are. And the schedule dropped and we were both just like, shit, like it just felt bad. It was because we both on call with each other, like went, oh, maybe there is something. And then going through and like, nope. No. Okay. Nothing there. And then, you know, not to disparage StarCraft, but like, you know, in the moment going, oh, what the hell? StarCraft gets 2 friggin' hours and you couldn't do like anything for Heroes.
I mean, what do you really want is one of the counterpoints, of course, to this. It's such a back and forth, of course, of emotions.
Yeah. And at this point, what I want, and this is informed, and this feeling is brought up because of the conversation we're having around BlizzCon. It's not what I would expect them to bring to BlizzCon, but I would like to know what to expect because of the fact that we just went through like the whole holiday season without a holiday event. We're used to those. At the bare minimum, we're used to them being recycled and reused. And we didn't even get that. And so that, plus AZ Jackson leaving, has me concerned about how long we're going to go between any sort of update, be it a balance patch or otherwise. Like at this point, I'm now, like my expectations for regular updates to this game are at an all-time low. And my concern is at an all-time high for, I guess, being disappointed by the future cadence. And so I wouldn't expect them to go up on BlizzCon on the stage and be like, hey guys, don't expect much. Things are going to slow down. But I would like that clarified anywhere. Like I would like to know, are holidays just over? Should we not expect them anymore? Oh, why didn't we repeat the Toys event? Because it was already working on what I understand to be the modern version of Heroes of the Storm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Naturally. These are the answers we want. It gets deeper, weirder, and sadder the more you think about it. I mean, for instance, you look at that Carbot animation going for an hour. Not a huge deal. If they had replaced that with an official Blizzard artist, I think we'd all be sitting around being like, well, fine, go draw Orphea, but we'd like to know something. That wouldn't make us happy having that replaced. But then you look past that and you see Blizzard Art Studio, how to draw Tracer, sitting on the strategy stage. And after following that is Blizzard Art Studios, how to draw Margrave Craxus. And you just gotta go, what? This is the strategy stage. Are we so archaic? Are we like those paintings of medieval tapestries business? Like, are we playing wheelie stick out here? Or like what sort of era do you believe strategy to be in? This is a quintessential mode of computer gaming. It's the reason why I have a mouse and keyboard, so I can execute these moves. I can shoot on a controller. It feels insane to be in this marketplace right now, but it's very true. I mean, look at the recent Activision Q4 conversations that are being had. It's all Call of Duty. It's the wave of, World of Warcraft, great, we did great, guys. But it's all focused on another Call of Duty, and these machines that produce these sellable games.
Well, and they frankly haven't had a lot of new releases other than that.
True.
Like, it's that and Shadowlands.
And to an extent, we do need to be kind about it because of COVID. Like, last year, in general, for all forms of media, was vacant.
Yes. That's, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. And we know, for the most part, what Blizzard's working on. Unless, again, who knows? Maybe there's some more surprises at BlizzConline. But for the things that we know they're working on that are in the hopper, your Overwatch 2s, your Diablo 4s, they're still a long way out. I mean, you mentioned their earnings call. They said in that earnings call, don't expect either of those titles this year. So, like, overall, and this is a bit of another, like, reality gut check. This is a light BlizzCon. By BlizzCon standards, this is light. Like, the first day runs from 5 p.m. to 8:30. That's nothing. BlizzCon runs all day for 2 days. You got to get up early if you want a good seat. That's how long it goes. And then the second day it runs from 3 to 7, which is a little bit longer. But you look at it, and like from 4 to 5, it's the community showcase. That's it. That's all there is across every single stage. It's just wherever you're watching, that's what there is to watch. I think, like, we were talking about this on the Angry Chicken, like Hearthstone. We know we're getting a new game mode and an expansion announcement. That's a ton of content for that game. It has 2 panels. Everything else is like, community game shows or show matches. So even the games that we know there's a ton of content for, like, it's coming, it will be announced. There's not a lot covered here. So it's just kind of a light event is kind of my first, bring it back down to reality and have a gut check. Like, as annoying as that tweet was, there's not a ton to this BlizzCon in the first place.
Sure, and there's not the usual filler, which you call it for filler, but it's for fun. At the end of the day, like voice acting panels, those aren't necessarily important, and those take up time at BlizzCon, and you have to decide between that and the official panel sort of stuff. There's still WoW Q&As. There's some of the traditional things you would expect, but there's also like a entire afternoon, at least on this, rather small schedule of 4.5 hours. It's seemingly a massive domination of something like a Critical Role Diablo campaign or March the Murloc's digital version, which just makes you go, there couldn't have been something. just like, are onesie sales so down that we have to push that part of BlizzCon? It's maddening the more you think about it.
That was it. They looked at the trend fall off of sales of Murloc onesies and said, we need a March of the Murlocs and we need it now. Get that hero shit out of here. No,
they looked at 2020 and they saw how nobody left their houses. So therefore their onesies didn't get wear and tear and they didn't buy new ones. So they got to make those sales go up.
I'm not sure. That's fun bit. So what we haven't talked about is like the one comment we got out of the Heroes team, because our good friend Brew got on Reddit, because needless to say, this caused a stir on the Heroes subreddit, and said, "Hello, friends. There's no panel because we didn't have anything to share at the moment. I will say that we have content coming, including some of my favorite reworks, new mounts and skins, and more. Have a good day." And that's it. Which again brings my mind to art panels, and I'm like, what, just throw Brew up on stage and let's watch him like make a skin, get me a little Heroes typed. But like beyond that, boy, it's hard for me not to go full Reddit and just start reading in between the lines of like what wasn't included in that one sentence there.
Sure. Like no new heroes.
New mounts, skins.
Yeah.
And it does say and more, and you can kind of read into that whatever you want, but at a point where I think this community is at its most concerned it's been since the most horribly written letter in the history of Blizzard PR from J. Allen Brack back when HTC was canceled. It's really difficult to not look at that and go,
It's hard to imagine, too, that given the opportunity that Heroes would completely bow out. Like they went to the team, were like, do you guys want to show off anything? You want to do the last year? You want to do Art of Hogger? And they're all just like, not really. Could be. I mean, that's absolutely capable. You're sitting at a desk all day. You're working on this game all day. You're not already comfortable interacting with the audience. Reddit, even shows like this can be cutting, as kind as we try to be. Like these sort of things can feel personal, and I'm sure we've attacked when we didn't mean to. And you have the option to just dodge all that and keep working as is. And plus you got these deadlines and people talking about wanting content, and you're going to take time to put together a PowerPoint. Like I see how it's just very simple, but the conspiracy side of me, the tinfoil hat of me is like, oh my God. The corporate bigwigs, the bean counters were like, we can't possibly. We already made our decision years ago. And to bring Heroes up, that would show our fault. That would show mistakes. And the stock would plummet because we're making bad decisions by even showing the game that was meant to be sent to the basement.
But they did a panel post HTC cancellation at the last real BlizzCon.
Totally. And as you mentioned, there's a lot less time at this one, but then you see something like Hearthstone Streamer Showdown, and your brain goes, couldn't we have done a Streamer Showdown? Couldn't there been something? Like, if this content feels manufactured in other areas of the schedule, why couldn't we have manufactured something for that?
Because our Twitch views are about the same as Hearthstone's esports views. I'm just gonna keep dropping bombs. If you can't tell, I'm a little pissed.
Sure, and we have every right to be.
Yeah, I'll wallow. I'm gonna get down. I'll get down in the conspiracy muck with you for a second and say that it is very difficult as a fan of this game not to feel like, despite the community's best efforts to reinvigorate this game and stick with it and create esports out of the ether, that whether it is intentional malevolence or complete apathy, corporate Blizzard's just abandonment of any promotion for this game it hits hard today.
Yeah.
And that's where I just, because like last year was really good. It was really good for Heroes. And like the CCL like really went past my greatest hopes, to where in my brain it was hard not to like link that and like the health of the game and the fact that we were still getting regular balance patches and reworks and a couple new heroes. It was hard for me not to like think about it like, cool, it feels like Heroes of the Storm's making a really healthy comeback. that it's like it's found its footing, it's found the cadence of updates that the team can keep up with, and it's found its audience that's gonna, we're here for the long haul, we're gonna support it, we're gonna play it, we're gonna create our own content, and in the case of CCL and other tournaments, our own competitive scene. And then, again, holidays hit, no event, AZ Jackson leaving, which I know there's more to the team than that. But again, for us, AZ Jackson is a really big, poster child of our link to the team.
And a visionary of how balances content. And that's what we're scared about.
Exactly. And that's where like my anger at like what I see as a faceless corporate, God knows what, just being like, again, whether at this point, I truly think is less like intentional malevolence and more they just don't care and are not tapped in. And yeah, I mean, in my own head, I look at the Heroes team as this weird like internal Blizzard resistance. Like, I feel like if it weren't for the devs, this game would have been put out the pasture a long time ago.
I agree. There's a lot of passion. I don't even want to call it blind passion, but you do have to sort of put your nose to the grindstone and not look up in order to keep working on this. But also on the other side, there is tons of encouragement happening in this community that we've covered over the last several months. But let's do a little bit of catch up here. First of all, we already talked about the CCL, Community Clash League, brings 11,000 new subs to the Reddit per month right now. That environment is constantly growing. CCL2 is announced. Earlier this year, we had Dryas, Moon, I'm a Cutie Pie. I'm not really big on these names, but 10,000, 20,000 Twitch viewers watching HotS be played. And you still have Grubby and Fan going. You've got the virtual YouTubers going as well with this game. Donkey mentions it in his end of year video. And right now, it feels insane that we're not striking when the iron is hot because League of Legends is in turmoil. They had a huge update to all their items. They announce an old game you used to play. Big update. You come back and you know nothing. The items are all different. Things are different. There is a lot of people bailing on that space because the big reason they kept playing is that previous investment. Some might call it that sunk cost fallacy. People are disillusioned with League right now. And we have to assume, therefore, that we're just not part of the Blizz portfolio. They do not need this game to be successful in order to make their money. When so many companies would be happy for whatever we have. We've heard 10 million players. We've heard lots of different numbers. It's all just assumption. But if this was a Smite-like size studio, if this was a smaller studio, this game would be in its heyday.
Yeah. No, I mean you're not wrong. And then again, that's just like to me it's if I feel like me personally, if that tweet hadn't happened, I wouldn't be saying this, but I feel like we have a communication problem. Although any other point, I would have been like, it's too soon after AZ Jackson leaving to say that. To say like, I kind of feel like we have a communication problem because I don't know where we stand. And while that might seem insane to some people who are like, well, wait, I mean, we've kind of been murky for the last, like, ever since post HCC. I disagree. Like, hell, when we talked to them at the last BlizzCon in 2019, I asked them straight up. I'm like, hey, what can we expect in 2020 in terms of, cadence? They were like, pretty much the same thing you got in 2019. And they, as far as I'm concerned, more or less hit that, with the exception of the toys event not happening. But now I'm just like, yeah, man, shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go 2 months between balance updates? 3 months?
All of that hype is entirely artificial in our own brains. Toys event doesn't happen. Hogger's released anyway. The Dark Nexus, Deathwing, it all makes us think that something was going to happen. And the tone deafness of this is paramount when we look at that tweet. Don't miss your favorite heroes with panel streaming across 6 stages. Yeah. See you there.
Hidden text. Don't mix your favorite heroes in games that are not heroes.
it's insanity.
Yeah, it's just annoying. Like it's like I just get so irritated at it, and it's just like and again, it's just like I'm not mad at the devs. I'm not mad at whoever posted the tweet. I am mad at whoever decided that was the message that should go out and signed off on it. Like, just like, come on.
I mean, it was mirrored across just about every other Twitter account there was. This was not a wholly unique announcement, other than the fact that they included schedule has arrived from the Nexus, which is just so savage and insane. And even if you take it in a role-playing way, it's even worse. Like, my husband is dead. Ma'am, what do you want to do about BlizzCon? My husband is just like, how could the Nexus itself? It's like they announced one day and World of Warcraft is now Peacecraft. We're done, guys. No more wars. No more battles, no more faction turmoil, all one faction. What is this? What is the point of this? It drives me bonkers. And that's why I have to imagine that there's just bigwigs in the background saying, like, we can't be wrong. This is the parent who punished their child. They found out later the kid didn't do it, but the foot was put down, and it would be an embarrassment, a ruining of authority to change it otherwise.
It's just weird, dude. It's weird. And I just don't know. I don't know how to take it. We did reach out to try and get anything in the semblance of like a statement, in terms of like the things rumbling around my brain, and PR is just like ghost town. Anytime I ask about Heroes of the Storm, like there's no like delineated point of contact, and I never hear back from people. It's like it's Voldemort status, man. It's that
the
which shall not be
named.
Yeah. Yes, like it's just why can't anyone just tell me? It's even a no. Like I get no all the time. Sending in PR requests for other games. Like they're just like, no, sorry, we're not talking about that. They just don't hear shit. It just drives me nuts, man. It just drives me absolutely crazy because the community for this game, man, is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Like, people freaking love this game. Like, I can't believe how much support we still have for this show.
It's insane, the renaissance that this game is having while being wholly ignored at events like BlizzCon. There's still opening ceremony. Like, if we want to have those little bit of hopes, I fully believe we'll still get it. And Heroes of the Storm. I'm doing the Mike Morhaime for some reason, but it's what we're used to. There could be that mention. It's just with all of this going on around the game. Oh, wow. I'm so sad, man.
I'm sad. I'm just like, I'm annoyed and angry. While like constantly wanting to have this footnote of not at the team that is still working on this game, despite somebody's continued efforts to try and make it die.
Yes, and I want to look at that. I do want to look at that today.
Yes, yeah, I do too. But yeah, it's just so strange. I just feel bruised, man. I just feel bruised and tired. That's where I'm at with this. Not insane. The chat room says I'm so sad, literally bursting with laughter.
You can't help. It's insanity. It is absolute insanity, and you can't help but laugh at it because it really does feel like they forgot they're making games over there. That people put in their time, their evening, their money. This is investments people make. They head home. I am a casual player in the face of every single person I meet at these NGS and Heroes Lounge events. They come home every single day and play for 3 hours straight. This is their game of choice. It is what they dedicate their free time to. And that sacrifice, that investment, to scoff it off because it's not Call of Duty 2021, because it's not the FIFA of today, is tone deaf by itself without all these other trappings around it.
Yeah, that's just my end thing. And again, also it's coming from this place of like they're still working on stuff. We know they're still working on stuff. Bruce said as much. And also they like blatantly announced that StarCraft is going to maintenance mode. So if that's where Heroes was going, I would expect such an announcement. And a matter of fact, at the moment, it looks like that might increase our chances of getting a BlizzCon panel.
How so?
Oh, there's 2 hours of StarCraft on day one. It's not a panel. It's like a show match. But yeah.
Yes, of course. If we went into full maintenance mode, we would truly have our BlizzCon presence.
That was literally just a joke. That was just
I get it now. I get it now.
Just a little jab. But yeah, that's just like it's just strange to me, and that's where this is all coming from. And I think it's been a while since you and I were just like, screw reporting the news. We're gonna just let our emotions hang because right now we're emotional.
Well, okay. What else can you report? What emotions or something insane like this?
Well, also, it's not like we're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, even though I kind of think we are. But it's like we're just being honest about our feelings at the moment.
Oh, sure. We could say, no news is good news, that things are going to continue on. Brew absolutely sacrificed his own karma to get in there and mention even that the team is aware of how it looks, what is planned out without that roadmap. And I absolutely agree still to this moment that roadmaps are just awful ideas for basically any game on this planet.
Yeah, I don't want that, but I'd like them to be able to talk about, vague ideas of where it's going. Like again, like they did at BlizzCon 2019. So it's strange. A roadmap for this game, it would just be. I think it would be a bummer for everyone. I don't think it would look. I don't think it would look like a lot. I don't think a roadmap for last year would have looked like a lot, but having gone through it and played the game the entire time, it was a lot to me. It was more than I expected. It exceeded my expectations.
I don't want the undue stress on our developers to meet deadlines that have been theorized. I mean, I can barely tell my darling wife that I'll be there in 15 minutes accurately.
I'm right there with you, man.
I mean, my dad had a habit when driving home of, this was back in, mind you, this is like 2004. So we were all on cell phones in our cars still. But he would see the most distant object he could and say that's what he was passing, in the assumption that that's where the car would be by the end of the call. However, my dad hated phone calls, so the call would end there, and he was not by that target. He was 5 minutes back at the very least.
I'd make a joke about how seeing like a mountain peak is a really bad thing to measure your distance from, but I know your dad was in Florida, so that didn't exist. I saw Spaceship Earth and started the call.
There we go.
Well, yeah. Anyways, man. So we are gonna kind of take a look at things and kind of do our best to come up with our own expectations. By looking kind of at the recent history of Heroes of the Storm, which would have been an interesting BlizzCon panel. But before we do that, we have a sponsor to thank on today's episode, dude. Bombas is back, sponsoring this episode of Into the Nexus. Great, amazing socks. If you haven't heard of Bombas, and you should go check them out over at bombas.com/nexus. We'll tell you why in just a second, but they are exceptionally comfortable socks that I've been just using the living hell out of because it's actually been cold in Florida. Go ahead, write in, everybody. I'll wait while you write in from colder states to tell me how not cold Florida is.
But the fact that your socks would make you warmer in Florida is enough. You've already said it. Yeah.
Listen, we judge coldness by am I forced to stop wearing sandals because I can't feel my toes anymore? That's how we judge being cold here in Florida. May still be wearing shorts, but toes need to get covered up.
You still might be wearing sandals, and those socks got to look good.
Darn right, man. I couldn't pull that look off, but oh man, my Bomba socks are so very, very comfortable. As I've mentioned, I use them for a lot of things, including sim racing, because it's better for the pedals to use
Socks, little tip if anyone wants to get into sim racing. Wear socks when you do it. And the Bombas ones are really comfy. And I know you were like blown away by their arch support, Kyle.
Yes. Surprising in the sock for that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing that was offered in socks until Bombas was like, "Hey, Into the Nexus, you want to check this out?" And we were like, "Sure." And it was amazing tech. And on top of that, they do more than just keeping your feet feeling nice. They help give back to the most vulnerable members of our community, because for every pair of socks that you purchase, Bombas donates a pair to someone in need, and the generosity of Bombas customers has allowed them to donate over 34 million pairs of socks and counting through their nationwide network of over 3,000 giving partners. So go check them out. Give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase at bombas.com/nexus. That is BOMBAS.com/nexus. And you're going to get 20% off your first purchase. And you're also going to support us here on ITN in the process. So go check them out. Once again, it's bombas.com/nexus. But now, Kyle, let's turn our attention to just what in the hell has been happening and how quickly it's been happening in Heroes of the Storm up until this point. We're basically looking at like post HGC heroes here.
Well, and one of the things I want to highlight with this is how the team has had to combat its own corporation. And this starts out with the Call of the Nexus event, or anomaly, if you wanted to call it that. Basically a setting that they turned on back in November 28th of 2018, before HGC cancellation even happened, fresh off the heels of BlizzCon, all the excitement about the winter updates, Orpheus is in the game, things are chugging along, and boy, have they been chugging recently up to that point. We're talking heroes about every 40 days until that HGC cancellation. So Call of the Nexus comes out. This forces Quick Match to provide everybody with a tank and a healer.
And this was times increased. December 21st back in 2018, yes? Oh, no, that was actually... That was when they loosened the restraints on that.
Right. We'll get to that here.
So Call of the Nexus all the way back on November 28th of 2018.
Right, but things move really fast for him here. So on December 1st, people are already talking about the queues. They're about 3 to 5 minutes. There's some complaints going around. We're also talking in the background about how, well, of course, population's down. We just had HGC finals. The pros are taking some time off. We're all enjoying Christmas gaming. Your mainstays usually aren't the main thing you're playing during those holiday breaks anyway, so no big deal. On December 11th, we hit the Toys event, armor rework, the periodic catapults showcased at BlizzCon, unit radii decreases, and the entire experience rework changes. 2 days later, December 13th, 2018, J. Allen Brack releases their dubious letter canceling HGC. 5 days go by. Those quick match queues reach 20 minutes and above. 3 days later, December 21st, 2018, Call of the Nexus is permanently loosened so that it doesn't have to give you that organized comp. And in ranked play, wider hero pools are provided for masters and grandmasters, now allowing them to be matched with diamond 1s through 5s. In the span of 8 days, the Blizzard dev team had to combat a massive drop in population.
That's exactly what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Like it is hard not to look at that and kind of think at the beginning, it's like, all right, yeah, you would think those restrictions would cause a longer queue on top of the fact that, HCC descended. But then Toy event hits. Usually that's a big re-influx of players who may have been taking a break, right? Any sort of in-game event, especially one as grindable as the Toys event, would bring people back. But then 2 days later, the HCC cancellation letter hits. Yeah, and it's hard not to seem like that was just like outside of how we've talked about it in the past, which is this major, dismantling of esports and a lot of people losing their jobs. It was also this like grenade to improvements that were attempting to be made to the game.
And you can also think about it on the side of player education. We go from longer queues, which of course suck, it always seems weird. As a streamer, they suck way more because you're sitting there. I want to interact. I want to talk about the game I'm playing. I know a lot of people play a side game. I still haven't really discovered that. That's my own personal problem too, because I don't want to show something I play by myself for fun, like Monster Train I'm enjoying right now. I don't want to put that on stream and have someone in the chat be like, hey, so-and-so's broke when you combine this and this. Don't tell me. This is my personal game. You can critique heroes all you want because I want to learn, I want to be better, but don't touch Hades on stream. Don't tell me how to win. So the queue time's going up. It sucks, but just tab out, bro. Just go to YouTube and watch a video is kind of my response, particularly when this is a learning experience. They made it so you had forced quick match comps so that ultimately we could have that population enter our lesser played game modes. And Storm League is a lesser played game mode. We're looking at about 10% of the total population of heroes even touches Storm League. The majority of people are still in ARAM, but mostly versus AI, which seems crazy, but casual play. What are you gonna do?
You want to play with these characters, but you've got some severe PvP anxiety. I understand that. I have a lot of my friends who play AI and play AI only, and yeah, it is strange to me. But I'm literally sitting here on a Heroes of the Storm podcast, so it probably would seem strange to me, Kyle.
Sure, it's just like I play StarCraft 2 versus AI because, hey, they're not going to message me after and tell me I suck.
I just do co-op commander at this point.
Also versus AI, though.
But AI with a stranger friend.
Right, there's a stranger friend, but they're at least the trappings that make them forced to be a little more friendly if they're looking to win. Yes. I've never been trolled in co-op commanders, is what I'm saying, and that's kind of a feat.
I mean, yeah. Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of how I would troll someone in co-op commander. At the end of the day, I guess I would just be giving the enemy units more buildings to munch on while I tried to make their mineral line inefficient to gather from. But
yeah, you could go about it, I guess.
Yeah. So somebody's going to write in with like the worst ways to cheese your co-op commander partner. And then I'm going to try it on you. Man. I'm going to try it on you.
Yeah, that's we can ignore that stuff. To me, this tells a story of constant battling with the perception without the resources to do that battling back. While they had the devs and the system designers on the team, they reacted fast to make sure that we had a longevity available for players who wanted to keep playing as that population dropped. Now, all we know, of course, is like Reddit statistics, and there was a great rundown over on Reddit, including some of the mods posting their statistics of how those subs have been going up about 11,000 per month, particularly since Community Clash League started for the CCL. And the comfort you can take from that is that this game will continue to battle its population problems and its content problems on the dev side. They're aware of it, and they are going to continue to give us the content they can. And a lot of that comes in the form of reworks. We look at the last year and a little bit of 2019, we had Whitemane and Junkrat, Samuro, Zul, Tassadar, Cassian, Tracer, Gazlo, and Diva, all of which at least saw some temporarily increased population play. Some of them went from completely obscure even troll picks, maybe like Gazlo, to in just about every game below Diamond. And Diva is absolutely a delight to play. In my own experience, Tassadar being another one. That's sure some people might be sad about this off-support tournament healer thingy, but lots of people really just like playing Tassadar, and that's raw content forged from old assets. So when Brew gets on Reddit and says, expect a rework, we can take a little bit of a guess here. In 2019, we had about anywhere 50 days to 100 days between these updates. For some reason, insanity struck in early 2020, and we saw 34 days between the update of Tassadar and Zul, followed by 22 days until Cassia and Tracer. The entire beginning of this year was absolutely overrun with reworks. Gazlo and Diva took a little break, took a little longer, and came out 125 days later.
Yeah, in between when the hell was May's release? Was May's release in between there?
May's release was in June 23rd of 2020.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's right up here. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, so yeah, May's release was in between there.
So right now we're on day 156 from our most recent reworks. And I'm ignoring in this like the little Mal'Ganis or little Tychus things that are rework kind of territory, but aren't full-blown asset changes or anything like that. Certainly not to the level of something like Tassadar.
Oh yeah, no, I would stick with that. Yeah, it's like rework adjacent, right? Because it does like fundamentally change a little bit of how you play the hero, but it's not from the ground up, as a lot of the 2020 reworks were.
When we talk about new heroes, we see a whole nother side of insanity, which I'm happy is over. I remember being on this very show with you, sitting here being like, this is too fast, this is too much, I can't keep up and I can't play that much.
I would have been okay with slower heroes back in HotS's heyday of hero releases as well, but yeah, like the lack of hero mention by Brew makes me think to not expect anything.
But we're not close, is what I want to say by this. So 2018, we get Yrel. 56 days later, we get Whitemane. 28 days later, we get Mephisto. 42 days later, we get Mal'Ganis. 28 days later, we have Orphea. And then the Brack letter hits, and it takes a whopping 66 days for a new hero to come out.
Well, it makes sense. It would have already been in development.
Exactly. But still, like, the agony of the wait.
Yeah.
We went 107 days for Anduin.
That's where the wait really kicks in.
Exactly.
Is Imperius. So 107 days from Imperius to Anduin. And then 98 days from Anduin to Kira. Another 119 days till Deathwing following BlizzCon 2019. 200 days and change from Deathwing to May. And then 161 days from May to Hogger.
So I do want to insert between that Deathwing and May, that those 203 days we waited, that's where a lot of these reworks came in.
So does that cast any hopeful doubt in your mind about the occlusion of heroes mentioned in Brew's response, since it's only been 72 days? Because it's been, I mean, I don't know. I'm not, I think it's going to sound like I'm grasping for positivity, but it's also just a curious thought. Is that,
oh, totally.
Would you just not mention it because it's
a rat here?
Yeah. Is Brew not mentioning heroes because there are just no more new heroes ever? Or because the next one's just so far out, there's no point in bringing it up?
That's where I'm at right now. We are at that 156-day point for a rework. Absolutely. Reworks seem very, very possible at this current cadence. But we're only at 72 days away from Hogger. And if we're looking at anywhere around 160 to 200 days between hero releases, I wouldn't announce anything. We're talking half a year away.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And one I didn't really think about until this moment. I was even looking at these numbers earlier, and the thought didn't strike me until just now.
I think it's safe to assume we're going to have a spring event. I expect that will be accompanied by a rework, because reworks are reused assets, increasing the content, increasing the player base, bringing people back. There's always going to be those people that are sad, right? Like, let's rework Hammer. We have no auto attackers. Cassia, depending on build, and Raynor are only ones, and Tychus is running with the meta. Like, ooh, give us more. We got Vala. There's other ones in there, but people like to say we have no X. But we've got some heroes like Hammer sitting there that could auto attack. Well, you've got a dedicated player base of 2% that loves playing Hammer, and they're hurt by this. So there's not going to be anything that makes everybody happy, of course, but that is an opportunity to expand the pool for the majority of folk.
Yeah, I think Gazlo and Diva were really good examples of that too, though, because the pick rates were lower on both of those heroes, Gazlo especially.
Yeah.
And then the reworks came in and just made them meta heroes.
Well, and made them usable in our current understanding of how we draft and in our various environments, and kind of helped bring about the double bruiser thing that's going on right now, but that's also pretty fine, healthy, and fun.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, and so it just comes back around to like I'm just curious, like what is the cadence now? Like how long are we waiting between infusions of new things? My most negative thought is that I think events are done, except for themed skin events. I think those are still possible, but since we didn't get a repeat of toys, I'm just like, well, why not? It's like with the information available to me, it seems like it was doable. So that to me, I feel the sun has maybe set on events that aren't like just themed groupings of skins, which I do enjoy, but it doesn't really drag me in for any gameplay reasons to grind out quests or anything.
Well, that's one of the big issues that I think goes back to dev team versus corporate. I remember 2.0 coming out and it being really exciting. It livened up the game. Let's never forget that. The majority of people were walking around in off-tint blue Uther, just whatever they could get of what they could barely afford, in a sense. A master skin. Master skins were rampant, and actual vibrant, new, exciting, arted skins were extremely rare. And it was something like 11, 15 bucks to get yourself an actual augment skin like Infested Tychus. And if you showed up wearing that, everyone's like, whoa, damn, big spender. Holy crud. I guess you like the hero. 2.0 hits. Pleb horses are gone. They're an embarrassment. The game is bugged if you're even on one or you're a Smurf. The game is alive with color and theming and dressing up. But those skins also lost their edge. And as our new cadence came in, equal to this Call of the Nexus update, there needed to be a currency update. There needed to be a full rework of how this game sells its products, because you continue to push things 200 days apart. Guess what I've got for you on the other side of that? Your own currency you gave me. You literally can't make money at your current cadence because I have too much free currency that you've given me along the way.
Yeah, man, you're not wrong.
That's like that is
are we losing our path here? Because like now I feel like we're just grumbling for grumbling's sake.
Oh, sure.
It's like, I've basically not been happy with like the gem system since it was introduced, and I've talked about it before, but it's like so off the reservation of focus. Like it's not where I am right now. I don't know.
Absolutely, we're a little off the beaten path, of course. It is. It definitely kind of ties back into those recent emotions, like, this is a thriving game. Every other studio, smaller studios, would be pleased as punch to be participating in this. But it's also part of the bizarre fallacy of what's going on with this devs versus corporate kind of feeling we're having. There needs to be fundamental changes for this game to make money, to continue to succeed in that corporate way.
Yeah. And again, that is like our narrative, but it's like hard not to shake.
Absolutely.
For sure. Like this is not proven, but like some of the part of like what just kept me in love with this game was like the unique way that the team just communicates with us directly. Like I said, like I don't know who the hell to even contact for a proper like PR request. And when I do send it to the PR contacts I have, I just don't hear back.
But that also has led to tons of freedoms in the team, like AZ Jackson being like, hey, let me come on the show and tell you guys what's what. And having the freedom to make that sort of outreach.
Yeah, and I think it's important for anyone listening too that are just like, oh, you guys are a little down today. Like that's why. Like we're a little like we're just like sad today, like because of that, and also like AZ Jackson. Like we don't have an official reason to bullshit with the man anymore. I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah,
like that's weighing over me right now too, because like. I don't know. I'm sure we never get that with the show, but I'm sure someone's like, shill, you guys just love Blizzard in this game. And it's like, well, you're right. I do love this game. It's freaking fun. But beyond that, it's just like, I like talking to people that make this game. They're wildly passionate, and it's just infinitely interesting to listen to them talk about it. So
to not air these grievances and these noticings would be a disservice to our audience to talking about this game. And hey, believe me, this section's going to come to an end, and it's going to be a rest of a show like it never happened. And that might be a little weird for some folk, but we're going to get right back to it. Even in this episode, we're going to get right back to normal. But this all has reached a climax, and we are so hungry to hear what the plan is, what's going to happen, what's going on outside of playing the game. As insane as that seems, there's a lot of people on Reddit being like, as long as there's 10 people, as long as there's 10 people in your queue. Yes. But what about improving the game? Player education? Feeling like you're part of that thriving ecosystem? I mean, I played D&D on Football Sunday. I didn't even know it was the Super Bowl. Like, that's the kind of environment I love about video games, is when I'm just completely absorbed. The news I'm watching is about the thing I love. The conversations are about the thing I love. And this all this stuff combos and works into itself and keeps people invested.
Yeah. I think that's like the core of our concern. With, again, all the footnotes in the world of like, this is not, none of this is, we're not letting this any of this on at the devs team's feet. Yes, we have our own bias because we make content about this game and we get paid to make content about this game. All that needs to be taken into account, but we really were just trying to be human today. So hope that came across, everyone. Anyway,
shall we throw the switch? Just
yeah.
Because like loose the trap door.
As we both said multiple times already, we expect content to continue to flow. We don't know how quickly it will flow, but new updates will come. We've been told as much. So just like there's your 1 hour of us going, we are officially concerned. That's the period to this conversation.
And sad.
Yeah.
Don't forget the sad.
Yeah. And I'm also just mildly pissed off. So, yeah.
Hey, it's almost like emotions are somehow connected with each other, that we have these cycles we go through. Weird stuff.
Anyways, how has your game play been, sir?
It's been a blast.
How has been playing this game that we are apparently too emotionally invested in gone?
Dude, it's honestly been awesome because I have been almost Hogger 24/7, except for Battlefield of Eternity, where he's banned in Heroes Lounge, which is just a real shame. But my understanding is that they already fixed the bug, but the bug was basically while the Immortal walked down the aisle after being summoned, spawned, defeated, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say after being betrothed.
You might. Maybe that's why they fight so much. They're really in love with each other.
I'll pronounce you demon and immortal.
Her immortals, I really love him. And they finally clash in the middle and kiss. It'll be great. Like, just end the eternal conflict with a kiss.
Oh, just get on with it already. Yeah, just kiss.
Jesus. Jeez. Come on. All right, anyway, you throw out a loot horde and apparently the immortal gets stuck or he gets confused or moves slower or pushes the loot horde. It's apparently kind of weird. So no Hogger allowed on BOE.
Okay.
But I've been just playing nonstop Hogger, and that hero release has been such a huge amount of content for me now that I'm able to play it, now that I am in the off lane rather than in that tank role. It's just been a delight, and I'm getting pretty good at it, which I'm quite proud of. But of course, through our matches, which there have been many as we lead towards the championship of Division 2 Heroes Lounge, before NGS starts up, which is also going to be its own thing overlapping with that, I am learning a lot from my teammates, Cavalier Guest, Mockery, Porky, these Grandmaster and coach players who just casually let things slip all the time. That makes zero sense, but of course are highly logical. They're just not encased in any sort of way we would learn them. How do you know Stukov is an incredible Diablo counter, for instance? Why? What would be your guess, Garrett?
Stukov is an incredible Diablo counter?
Yes.
Diablo, it's kind of important that he uses his abilities, which you can't do if you're silenced.
Sure, everybody gets silenced.
So Diablo specifically?
Yeah, Diablo specifically.
Beats me, man.
And you're not wrong. I mean, Silence in Diablo, when he's in an entomb, when otherwise he could charge out of it to a lane minion, to anybody else. Like, Diablo's pretty mobile if he can cast spells. But it's actually level 16 Super Strain. This is the healing pathogen. While it's on an ally, if they are stunned or rooted, they instantly heal. If Diablo performs a full domination counter, stun, pick up, stun, that's 3 stuns, and you actually heal more than Diablo did damage to you.
So Diablo is healing you by beating the shit out of you.
Exactly. He's slamming you. You're entirely locked down for that entirety, and you actually come out of it with more health than you previously had.
Gotcha. He's slamming you into comfort and care. Great. It's good to know.
A lovely caressing against the walls. So you're invigorated out of that event.
Yeah, gives you a pat on the head at the end of it and says, have a good day.
I also learned quite a bit about Abathur this week. We have been running Sky Temple Abathur only healing comps. Which,
okay.
Yeah, they're weird. They're weird. Basically, what you do in this is you draft a whole lot of lane clear so that you're always pushed out past the point of temples. The temples turn on, they're all pushed out. They got to deal with this lane to get to you. Or they can just try to circumvent it, but now their buildings are in danger. They're taking catapult shots, they're pushed out. The mercs are all being taken by my team, and you're just overwhelmed. You kill somebody on the pad, no big deal. We've already out-soaked what that kill is worth. But the real reason is you draft no team fight, so every time they show up, you just leave and go clear another lane and push it past the point where they now have to clear it again. They get one person on that pad, no big deal. We were on another pad somewhere else. And solo Abathur allows you to soak lanes where someone might have died, maybe even do a little double soaking, but not so much the case today with the XP orb system. But the real crux of this is Valeera, of all things. Valeera with an Abathur hat at level 7 can instantly kill a Garrosh. And the reason why you can run solo support Abathur is because of Valeera, because it's burst. We are stuck in some sort of archaic mindset where we're like, Abathur, ooh, Illidan, let's do it. Too slow. Impossibly too slow. You've got 2 people invested in killing one guy over the course of minutes. What a waste of time.
So is the 7 because of a Valeera talent or because of an Abathur talent?
Power spikes, all that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
That is the anecdote I was told. I can't tell you much more about it because I don't quite understand it myself. But you can run solo support Abathur if you do 2 things. 1, the hat target is actually able to burst someone down fast enough that they wouldn't have to be healed in the first place, except for the level 1 shield. And 2, you're going to push out so much that every time they show up for an organized team fight, you just walk the hell away and leave. And they're going to have trouble all over the map. They get 1 pick, trouble all over the map. It didn't matter.
That's wild, dude. That's cool that you're running that now. Continue reporting on it. I'm interested in this.
I'll let you know. We've done it twice in organized games, and we did it once in Storm League.
Well, you were there for it, because you and I have continued with our drafting together. I lost my first Johanna game.
How'd it feel?
Honestly, a little frustrating because I was feeling actually pretty good and empowered in that game. I've been meaning to go back to it and see if I can figure some things out that I could have done differently. But because you and I, we were sitting there waiting for our cue to pop, and we were like, do we have a 100% win rate with Garrett on Johanna? And we pulled up our match history together, and sure enough, yeah, we did. We were 4 for 4. Any of the games that we played this season where, and I've not been going out of my way to tank. Those have all been, well, crap, no one else took tank. Garrett, what you got? And I always got Johanna. So that was interesting. That was humbling to end that win streak. But I'm not sure what to learn from it.
Usually what you learn in those situations is that Johanna was too far forward of all things, which isn't always the most useful information. Johanna does have peeling trouble. When something does get in her backline, one, she has to aim that shield and actually hit it. Condemn isn't always the big option. There's lots of hybrid classes, even Greymane, who are going to continue to do solid DPS. Even during a blind, you may have shot backwards. Deducing what happened with Johanna is difficult, but we do have some options. When you take a look at it again, were we up against a Varian is a pretty obvious question, because Shattering Throw breaks the shield, which means you're no longer unstoppable, leaving you completely vulnerable.
Did we have? I think, but it wasn't it? It was a Varian plus a Muradin.
Yeah,
the Muradin kept jumping in the back line.
And there's more to it too. Like, it's just not the Shattering Throw activatable. That allows your passive basic attacks to deal 200% bonus damage to shields. So Varian is a classic Johanna counter.
Yeah, they had a decent amount of lockdown too. I don't remember the exact team, but it was difficult when Ironskin wasn't even like ready to go.
And Johanna's such a popular hero that people have had to try to adapt to the counterplay of getting through her shield quickly and therefore being able to lock her down.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of Johannas and the pick rate on things like have a falling sword are up right now. Because that's your only escape mechanism when you receive that much shattering damage to your otherwise unstoppable Iron Skin. You also end up doing things like Laws of Hope at level 1 to try to manage your own health, because increasing shield amount won't matter.
Oh, I did, Kyle, because we had yet another Plat Ana.
That might be a factor too. You may have not received any heals. And I went on to other games this week too to see a lot of unskilled Ana play. She's just up and in people's minds right now, when Anduin right clicking would be way more efficient.
Dude, yeah, Anduin's another one of our foils. I think I need to go look at our stats together, because it feels like Brightwing gives us trouble, but I'm pretty sure we have a positive win rate against Brightwing. I'm not so sure about Anduin. My memory is that Anduin kind of wrecks us, and we wreck with an Anduin on our team, I think. So remind me to pull that for next week.
We got to witness too a much easier version of the Light Bomb Falling Sword, which was Light Bomb Muradin just leaping as a reaction.
At that point, you're just building a leap. Like, why don't you just take Leap Sonya at that point?
Well, because it's Muradin and Anduin, they're doing it together. I did see a lot of Ariak Crater this week too. That may have been this one particular player that we had to fight last night, but it put it in my mind. There's a lot of Crater going on. This particular team would do Crater Uther, and then Sonya was invincible inside the crater.
Ooh, that's grody. We've not experienced that together, and I have not experienced that myself. I have seen no craters. But
I do have some useless information for you when it comes to Storm League, because people would probably be really upset if you tried to pull this off, but it's very cool.
Hit me.
Tank Leoric is the number one answer to a Johanna pick.
Like solo Tank Leoric?
Yeah, solo Tank Leoric. I mean, you have another bruiser with you, but Leoric is the tank.
I could see that. You could make that work with another solid bruiser. Get a Sony in there. Get a well-seasoned Chen player.
We tend to use your Relith at the most on the team. What you do is entomb the Johanna, which seems so stupid backwards, but guess what Unstoppable can't go through? Terrain.
That's a good point. So do you kill the things outside of the entomb instead of the Johanna in this scenario?
No, you kill the Johanna. You attach a hand to her, you body block her in there, she's trapped, her shield breaks, then the CC follow-up happens, and bye-bye Johanna.
Okay, so you just delete the Johanna and continue the fight.
Exactly. And because Johanna comps are often so based around having Johanna in the front, lots of things fall apart.
That makes sense. That makes
sense. You could also run, this is kind of an interesting one that's developing, Tank Deathwing with double support. Because it leaves no question at all who the double support are healing. Because the tank literally can't be healed. Therefore, Vala, or we saw this run with a Hanzo. It didn't work out, but it's an interesting idea. Like, your mega carry, Greymane, is so totally the focus because people just can't even mechanically, by game code, heal Deathwing.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, we ran into that weird double support Stitches game a few weeks ago, and it's looking more and more enticing as much as I wince when I say that, because you and I remember the last double support meta we found ourselves in. But
it was a scary thing.
I'm starting to ask myself more and more often, like, why not? And I promise it's not just because of my Ana grumbles. I'm just like, well, let's get a healer. It's gonna work, but
your main issue will always be that lane clear problem they added in.
Yeah.
But you still have things like Uther in the world, and chat brings up a great counterpoint. Well, why don't they just Falling Sword out of that? And it's true; those two cooldowns do line up 50 seconds each. I'm just double checking here, but I'm pretty sure in Tomb, 50 seconds. However, you now made Johanna use her one engage. She picked the less good version of her engage 10s to escape. So now the enemy team has 0 engage. So whatever you want to do after that is all up to you. And you lost it in Tomb, which had to be aimed and isn't always reliable. Plus you got another bruiser going on. So you sort of just count it as a win. Your Entomb was less valuable than her using her heroic in a way that did not make aggressive sense.
Yeah, you would be.
That did not push the game.
In a lot of scenarios, you would be up just damage in general by having a double bruiser front line.
That too.
Johanna front line. So yeah. I mean, you were getting into, comes down to the skill of the player territory, but there's still some upsides there. For sure. Maybe start typing an explanation in your notepad for the next time you sick Leorics out there. Go see Johanna picked across the draft screen and copy and paste the explanation of, oh, I got this because explain the Entomb thing.
And there's also, there's a lot of nuance to that. There's sometimes things that somebody dies and they're like, I got lightning breath out, and you're like, thanks. You died out there. By the way, speaking of breath, don't ever stand in a Deathwing breath post 16. It hurts a lot. I died. He was breathing across a mercenary camp that was already captured because it died due to this massive conflagration molten flame. Me on Raynor, I'm like, I can get that. Walk in there and just die. It's apparently all he is. In this current iteration of Deathwing, they put all their talents in the queue, and it is his heroic. Just don't make my mistake. Don't walk in the flame. It's not worth it.
Sounds good. So it sounds like I should probably pursue some sort of tank learning, because it keeps coming up in at least our experiences together. What are you working on right now? You still working on Hogger?
Yeah, a lot of it's Hogger, brushing up Leoric and getting him back on. But again, that's been run by Cavalier a lot recently with the tank.
I've seen a lot of hype around you being on Deathwing. Is that just a thing, or have you been working on Deathwing as well?
A little bit here and there. It isn't clicking in the best way, but like I said, it's a lot of, if you're not tank Deathwing, it's a lot of hiding around corners to hide your windups. And so that people can't see things like maybe your energy bar if you're doing that full Q build, because matters. Oh,
I love that it comes down to the biggest hero in the game hiding.
It's ridiculous, man. But like Infernus, the level 4 talent, increases the damage of Molten Flame against enemy heroes by 25%. Increase this damage bonus to 75% if Molten Flame is cast while at 75% energy or higher. So you've got multiple reasons to hide. Mainly to counter your issue with windups and people dodging you. But second, if they see your energy bar, they might know how to react differently.
Okay. All right.
Or they assume your energy bar or assume you're there. The hiding's the main part.
Like I said, I find that infinitely amusing. And also terrifying. Like the idea of, oh God, surprise Deathwing.
For me, it's a lot of diva right now because we're using these macro runaway comps, and basically, if the enemy team picks a team fight, you go bomb, everybody out the pool, bomb, and then you go farm another bomb somewhere else. So it's being used as a disengage there. I'm not getting to play things more aggressive and in the thick of it like Gazlo, because he absolutely has to get pretty far up in there. Yrel is excellent at running away. Not really playing much Zool or Malthael because that's very much against the strategy we're currently, running amok with. But for our own games, I think you're onto something, and I think we could probably take a note from that Muradin there. We should work on some light bomb. I think I'll do the Anduin or something like that. We'll work on a support tank combo in the hopes that will elevate the team further than good DPS. Because once we shore up a bad tank and a bad Ana on our team, I think we overall have increased our hand in this game.
Yeah, but what do you do when you don't have follow-up? We've run into that a little bit. And when it happens and I'm on a tank, boy, that's a bad feeling.
Right, you can hope that it is your own fault that you're too far forward, but there's still people maybe targeting the wrong targets or not doing the macro side of things. So nothing's a perfect equation. And that's what makes Heroes of the Storm so interesting and so different than the other MOBAs. But yeah, we're still stuck at that plateau barrier after even playing this week.
Yeah, that's fair. No harm in trying.
I think Anduin could have something to it. You got the root. You got some good counters to things that run amok in Plat Storm League, like Mal'Ganis, which is fairly ever picked, but great. In fact, Mal'Ganis and Plat and Gold and below. I mean, if we have to remove bronze from this equation because everything has a lower win rate than 50% in bronze. That's why it's bronze.
Yes, yeah, because you have mixing of leagues happening there. Like it's not like it's just bronze players only playing against bronze players.
In Gold and Plat, Mal'Ganis runs away with it. He's better than Garrosh, ETC, and Johanna, and even Muradin, because nobody's using his primary counters, which are all on the enemy tanks. Knockbacks and stuns, interrupts for his engage.
Yeah.
So we can think more in that sort of realm. What can we get away with at this league that maybe we can't do later, which sucks too? Because of course I want to learn lessons that propel us all the way to the top. But again, that's a lot like Hearthstone. You run certain decks at certain leagues because it's speedier to do it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd love to hear from listeners who maybe duo stack with a friend of theirs and kind of hear what works, especially for if you did the high plat climb. Because, we found things along the way, right? Like we found a good mix of just damage when we were running Malthael, Greymane. We were just destroying in low plat. It was hilarious. And then that eventually ran out, and we were like, okay, CC, we're missing CC. It seems to be what it is, and we found a good mix of CC, or maybe one CC and some follow-up, and that wrecked for a while. But
I love that idea. You know what? Let's do that. Anybody who's got a duo, two people combos, let us know your favorite duo, and in a stream next week, we will try it out. We will do that duo and report back.
We'll do the duo?
We'll do the duo.
Sounds good, man. I look forward to it. That'll be fun. I can't believe we haven't asked, and no one suggested. Y'all are too nice. I want to know what worked for you. Let us stand on your shoulders.
Yeah,
your audience.
It's fun to explore, but eventually you go, you know what? I don't know how to cook, and I should stop trying to improvise. Maybe I should follow a recipe, and I think we're at that point.
Butcher Valera, Butcher Tyrande are getting thrown around in chat.
I mean, Butcher's fun.
The first time we ever smurfed together, we did Butcher Lily for like 10 games, and I think we won 9 of them.
It was delightful,
it
for
was
sure.
Just gross.
I mean, granted, that was definitely back in it was the Rainer bike, the Vulture event.
Yeah, we were both smurfing on brand new accounts, playing against newbies as the system tried to figure out where we were. That was the meanest thing I've ever done in Heroes of the Storm.
Absolutely. It was very cruel of us.
It was. But I wanted that Vulture mount, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted it. I really wanted it. Well, I look forward to that, man. I look forward to that. And I think this is probably a good place to wrap up this episode. Have a have a goal for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are receiving lots of emails right now. We definitely want to get to those. But of course, each week seems to be a little busier than the last round here, which is fun. But I hope we have some good news for you soon.
Yeah. And you know, if we do end up with a longer stint between major updates, we're going to need those emails to theme some episodes around. So keep them coming. itncast@gmail.com. Patrons, you got a question? Drop them right there in the patron Discord. And it doesn't have to be for the show either. If you just have a in the moment question, add us. Let us know, because sometimes I miss questions. I am totally fine getting mentioned in the Discord. That's what it's there for. So anyways, I think it's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Huge thanks to our patrons for supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. Another shout out to our producers as well. Declan H, Cheesy Bob, Chris K, Mike C, and Sean B. Thank you very much for your support. You can catch us live Thursdays around 3 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Everything else is at amove.tv. Catch the back catalog of this show and other shows that I make. But enough about me. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me over at kylefergusson.com, where I do a lot of things Heroes related as well as Dungeons and Dragons related. You can find my solo show, DM Gives Inspiration, over there, as well as links to There Will Be Dungeons, the live play podcast that I'm currently running as Dungeon Master. But put all that aside for a moment, because I want to advertise a brand new feature that you may not be aware of over at hotslogs.com. The devs over there have been working hard, and you can now share direct links from your top bar and let people see exactly what you're looking at. You want to show somebody, your friend, you want to be like, hey, here's Quick Match in Silver. That link updates at the top now, and you can share that information directly. And they will see when they click it, Quick Match win rates in Silver, as well as if you want to add a map to that and all sorts of other classifiers.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the team over there. I can't believe how quickly they turned that around. And we had such a long laundry list of like improvements and things we wanted to fix on the site, and that one just like slipped by. It was like, wait, it doesn't already do that? We need to fix that.
It's such an easy thing to assume at this point. I mean, HotSlogs has been around for quite a while. It's very easy for anybody who knows how to use the system to be like, yes, I'm glad. I would like to know leagues, and I've clicked these buttons, and please show me only best talent builds, and so on and so forth. But if you're completely new to the website, it can be overwhelming, and you're not sure where this information is coming from. Well, now we can all, for shareability's sake, share out those links and let people know what you're looking at when you look at HotSlogs and why you've made those conclusions.
Yeah. Well, thanks for mentioning it, man. I appreciate it. Hotslogs.com. Go support that site. I'd really appreciate it. Do you have to say it's sponsored if you own it? Is that a thing? Disclosure.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like a constant sponsorship. It's not like this video brought to you by HotSlogs. Like all videos are brought to us by HotSlogs.
We should probably just start doing that anyway. I mean,
might not be a bad idea.
Be good for the site. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, go check it out. But also check out Kyle's stuff. Dude, your short video you put up yesterday, kind of covering the lack of BlizzCon Heroes representation, was really well done.
Thank you.
I will promote that on your behalf. Everyone go to youtube.com/Kyle Fergusson and check that out, because it's good and you're getting good views, and you made the front page of the Heroes subreddit, and congrats on that. You should do more stuff like that.
It was a good visit to the front page. Everyone was very nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Into the Nexus. We'll see you next week. But until then, good luck and have fun.
Take care.